Welcome. I'm Nick Edgar.
And I'm Jess Frost.
And we are the co-founders of the 3E Space. This is our podcast. Have you got space for this?
An unscripted and unplanned podcast dedicated to curious, messy, and imperfect conversations about the human experience.
Each week we will pick a topic at random that you, the audience, has said, I'd love to see Jess and Nick explore this topic. So without further ado, grab yourself a cuppa, let's explore, get energised and feel empowered together.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hello. Welcome back.
Hello.
How you diddling?
I'm all right. I'm undecided about this jumper.
I fucking love it.
Do you?
Yeah, although you got my hair all over it.
Oh, that's okay.
Everywhere. It gets everywhere, doesn't it?
What, your hair?
Yeah. It does. I love it.
Yeah, I'm trying out like stuff that's in my wardrobe to decide whether it's going to come forward with me or not.
Ooh, love it.
And this is one of them. I'm kind of like, I think I might like it, but I'm not sure. So
I really like it, but it's up to you.
Bringing that energy to this moment.
I'm bringing 90s.
I know, I love it.
I had a similar one, and I'll tell you a little story. I had might have been Nike. Anyway, we used to be quite naughty, and we loved doing seances.
Oh, we're going way back here, aren't we?
Way back. So, yeah, this would have been 90s. I'd have been like 13, 14. Seances where you get candles out and you try and speak to the dead. And we're in this barn, candles everywhere. I'm in my flammable top.
Like a shell suit type.
Shell suit, yeah.
Naturally.
Lean over. Only set fire to my arm, don't I? Oh my God. Trying to get my tracksuit off in this barn that could have just literally gone up like that.
Oh my God.
I used to do this all the time. I used to do seances like, oh my God, in like, I was at the top bedroom of this 3-story house. And yeah, we just have candles and seances and that. And I just think, God, that makes my bum hurt now. Literally makes me want to be sick of myself. But my mum was raging. She was like, what's happened to your new jacket? And I said, oh, I left it on the bus. And she rang all the bus companies to see if the tracksuit was on there.
Oh, wow. You're outing yourself on the pod.
Yeah. But no, I set it alight in a seance. That's way more me.
I love that, mate. That's amazing.
So yeah, channeling that vibe, reclaiming my my flammable wear.
I had a shell suit in the early 90s that I bought from Reading's top ever goal scorer, Trevor Senior. The football, like every now and again, the pros would come in. This is like total 90s, like pre-Premier League, like wages were nowhere near what they are now. And every now and again, like the pros would just come in with a load of clothes and like sell them to us apprentices. And I bought like a sky blue Nike shell suit, like full top and bottom. And
sexy ass.
It had like, you know, like a globe, one of those globes that can twirl around.
Yeah.
So it kind of had that design. So I had like a globe on this. I thought I was the absolute dog's fucking nuts, man.
I'd have fancied you back then as
Honestly, like I really did think I looked amazing.
Mate, should we get
there was
more tracksuits?
Also, there was a real, I've just had a memory of like, also there was a real like thing for wearing like braces as well.
Really?
Like with suits then. Yeah, for sure. So everyone was wearing braces. That was a real big thing.
Right then. Well, there's some ideas for the wardrobe, babes.
Yeah, I don't think that I've got any now. I haven't kept anything that long.
Vintage?
Thankfully.
Immediately get some vintage.
Okay, so let's see. Next episode. Braces.
We're both in braces. We're both in tracksuits.
I look like some kind of weird Clockwork Orange moment. Right, anyway, we digress.
It's your bowl time, mate.
Is it?
Yeah.
My bowl time. Keep the topics coming in. We've had some bangers recently. Thank you, everyone.
They're going deep, man.
Oh, I've got multiple ones here. I'm going to go with this one. Okay. Security. What does it feel like to you and how to create it?
This is so apt.
When I learn that, I'll let you know. No,
That's amazing.
I don't know who that's from.
I want to say, Olga, I want to say it's you, but I don't know. Again,
Whoever
don't
it's
fucking
from,
write it
thank
on the
you.
Post-it. Thank you. Security. What does it feel like to you, and how to create it? Well, we have very different ideas on this, don't we, babe?
Say more about that.
So, we've been looking at like security from a money perspective. My God, this has been fascinating, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like, I do a lot of money mindset work, like myself, and I do it with my clients. I think being an entrepreneur, it's something I had to face, my relationship with money. But I think a lot of people are feeling this at the moment with money insecurity, especially with the changes happening in the world and how unsafe people are feeling. I think whenever we feel unsafe, we can kind of like naturally want to grip on and take the control back. Money can sometimes be that for people. It's like, well, this is the bit I can control. So now I'm going to like white knuckle and make sure that like I feel safe and secure. I'm definitely more, what's the word? Haphazard? Like, like, how would you describe me in terms of like my need for security?
It's kind of laissez-faire.
But what I'm realizing is, like, from an entrepreneurial perspective, that can kind of, I think we
need it.
We have the best of both worlds in each other, but sometimes those parts of us clash.
Yeah.
So I can be, like you say, just a bit like, boohoo, I'm going to do this, I'm going to invest in this, I'm going to take this action. Whereas you'll be like, whoa, 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 let's take a breath, let's think about this, let's strategize. Whereas I'm like, what?
I think that a lot of that's to do with the associate. It's to do with my own history long before we met.
Yeah.
Like, if I think about security, when I was at my first real lowest point of breakdown in London at 26, 27, and quite literally selling my house and taking my money out the bank because I didn't feel that secure. Like, that's a different me to the me that bought a house back in the amazing days where you didn't need a deposit. In 2007, just a matter of weeks before the financial crisis and crash, where I lost a third of the value of my house and was stuck on an interest-only mortgage for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, that experience alone, I think, made me pause and decide that I couldn't afford to take these kind of risks.
That's it, I'm risk averse. Yes.
So I became risk averse.
Not risk averse. What
You're
am I?
like
I'm risk
embracing.
Yeah.
Like,
It gives the risk, whereas
Yeah.
you're more risk averse. Yeah.
but I've also, but the younger me that did that took his money out and found therapy and found creativity and found self-expression and found music and then took a risk to do that. Do you know what I mean? I think I felt safe doing that. So I think when we met, I was coming from a place of sort of having gone on a journey of risk taking and associating risk taking with failure and negativity and hurt and pain
Loss,
and therefore security, not just financially but security in generally, was safety was built around the known.
Yes.
And really very carefully moving within that and not really allowing myself to move out of it. That's why that expression, feeling safe inside my fortresses, these were fortresses that kept me small, I now know, but nevertheless they helped me to feel secure when previous behaviours had given me none of that.
Yeah.
So I've been on a real journey with security, to be honest.
Yeah. It's so funny because I can be a massive risk taker. I can be reactive. I think it's down to a lot of different things, really. I think a lot of it is like attachment for me, as a result of, whether it, I don't know, my neurodivergence, whether it's my trauma, there's lots of different things. Just generally who I am as a person, I think I'm more likely to just jump off that cliff and just see what happens and see where it takes me. But then in other ways, I really grip on to feeling safe and secure. And I've shared this with some COAs in the past, and there's been a lot of people that relate, and we've shared different stories of it. But like, I have to triple check that certain plugs are turned off. I have to literally make sure both the back door and the front door is locked. Whereas you, from a security perspective, would happily leave the doors open and unlocked even while we're here now. Like,
yeah, no, I know.
and
I know.
you said, didn't you? Do you think we'll ever get to a point where we leave it open? I was like, hell no! Like, absolutely fucking not. Are we leaving these doors unlocked?
Yeah.
And I have to like, I panic if I think I've left the oven on, or that's definitely like a response from my childhood as a COA, where you might leave a parent drinking downstairs where there's candles lit, or there's any form of risk where something could happen, or they're going to fall down the stairs, or that part of me never goes away. So from a COA perspective, I will control and desperately affirm safety in so many things that I can control, like that. My doors being locked, all the things that could be risky checked, turned off. But then when it comes to an entrepreneurial thing, I'm like, can we afford the rent? I don't know. Let's just go. And like, you know, just take that leap of faith that sometimes are not the best, where I could have, you know.
I think this is something actually that we've probably had one of the most I think it's been one of the most challenging parts of us in and out of business as a couple, because there's so much difference that in how we feel secure. And I think even though, so from attachment styles, you are like absolutely disordered, that you would happily say, I think I am, but I'm much more anxious.
Yeah.
And I think that plays a part here in terms of security and how we find it. My journey while we've been together has been about expanding the boundaries of where and how I feel safe.
Yeah.
Realizing that how I had done that was how I'd found safety in the years, in my late 30s, early 40s, wasn't healthy. And having to come to terms with that, first of all, but then making sure I don't go right the way back to people pleasing and being the same, trying to be this, like who you are.
Yeah.
And I think I struggled with that for a bit, because obviously I'm a recovering people pleaser. So it's like, okay, I'm going to abandon what feels right to me because of this bigger, more authentic dream of serving others, of living my purpose.
Yeah.
Like all of that takes a leap of faith. So you have to be secure in the insecurity of all of that.
That's it.
And that's what I struggled with.
Yeah.
And still sometimes have big moments of struggling with it, because it goes against so much of my conditioning.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
But I feel that it's been a really worthwhile journey for me. And I think that it is about being able to connect with and work with those parts of me that have some really fixed ideas about how I should be living my life and what is acceptable and what's not acceptable in terms of my safety.
Yeah. It's the fixed.
Yeah.
It's the fixed. And then that's the whole thing about emotional agility, isn't it? Like, I think that's what I'm realizing. Like, I've definitely got younger parts of me that when they take over and they make decisions, it's probably not wise. You know, it needs to be more considered. I think there's something there about the fixed, and when we can have that agility where we like let go of the white knuckling. I think it's a big part of like the life journey, if I'm honest. Like, I listened to a track this morning that was so beautiful, and I wish I could remember the words. I'm not going to, but it was very much about releasing that grip. And I think when you journey through life, especially when you get near the end of life, where you've been gathering all these material things and like gripping on, you know, we've been taught to get married, have children, buy a house, have savings, like pass money on, pass materials on, and like this beautiful part of like detaching from the fixed and from the control to just flow. a little bit more. I think my version of that is very different to what I often default to. What I default to is more chaotic decisions, and what I want is more like aligned flow and trust and surrender and reciprocal energy, like rather than that like I need to control and I need to feel safe with metrics or materials or anything like that that could be taken away. That's when I feel really unsafe.
Yeah, I really resonate with that. And I think because I mean, look, as a young person, to speak to your point about those things that sit outside of yourself, I never really understood the pursuit of wealth as a value.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. And maybe that was part of my religious upbringing. Maybe, I don't know. But I just didn't get it. And I still don't, if I'm honest. I don't get it. Like, I don't know how to be anymore to like make my point any better than saying I don't get it. But I'm embracing it because it is the world within which I find myself. And actually I've begun to, instead of my response to I don't get it being, and therefore I don't want to be part of it, and therefore actually I'm probably going to make myself feel more unsafe and less secure in many ways, and I'm going to create separation from as a result of that. Now it's more about, well, I want to play with it, and I want to understand my relationship with it, and I want to see how I can experience things differently. So I think for me, a big part of the last few years has been about expanding where I'm capable of feeling secure, and what security means to me, so that I can be in business where income is unknown. And even something as simple as that, I've struggled with. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so being in business for myself means I have uncapped earning potential. Fuck, that's amazing. But my reality of that truth was actually to shine a lens on it that said, I know that I've got bills to pay and I don't have a guaranteed salary coming in, and that's fucking terrifying. Do you know what I mean? And having to sit with all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that my nervous system is looking for that evidence of planning, of knownness and safe.
It's managing fear.
For sure it is.
And fear, when we walk with it, can be one of the best ways to create abundance.
Yes, if when we befriend it and work with it, rather than being afraid of the feeling of being afraid.
And similar to what we did with managing pain when we looked at managing, it's that same thing of getting curious about what's prompting the need for security right now, isn't it? There's something underneath when we have a desire to feel safe. There's something happening under the surface, isn't it? That actually we'll seek outside of ourselves for. Okay, well, in order to feel safe, it needs to be this metric. Okay, and then you get there, and then something else is there. And then you need something else, and you need something else, and you need something else. Whereas actually sometimes if you can go, okay, well, I'm feeling really unsafe and I'm feeling really fearful. Okay, I'm going to take a moment just to explore that within. And I do think that, like that can help us feel the security sometimes when we can be with fear, when we can be with panic, when we can be with anxiety, be with all of it, rather than immediately looking for the external thing to make ourselves feel better.
Yeah, for sure. And
when I think about abundance, it's a big buzzword, isn't it, out there on social media, especially for people that are aspiring entrepreneurs and things like that, or not even entrepreneurs, people that just want more abundance in their life, or abundance of love or pleasure or money or whatever that is. That I think when we breathe into just even the word abundance, allowing that to be, it doesn't work with the grip, it doesn't work with the control, it doesn't work with the fear.
Yeah,
like you're restricting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think when we think about security, it's maybe thinking about, okay, what might that security look like when I want an abundant life? With all the things that I want to call into my life, does that security, or what it's always been like for you, does that align anymore? Or is there a new form of security that I can find in here?
Absolutely. 100% it is. And it's reframing that part of me that doesn't get it
Yes.
into, no, I do get it, but I get to choose what it means to me. So abundance for me is about an expansion of my world. And the bigger my world is, I'm learning, the safer I feel, as opposed to keeping my world small, gripping on, as you said, and to keep it known.
Yeah.
Only with the same people, doing the same things, in the same environments. That's how I'm going to feel safe.
Yeah.
And actually the opposite's true. And I think for me, it's that realizing that when I open myself up, I do, and push, not even push, walk with whatever fears I'm feeling, walk with whatever doubts I have, walk with whatever previous versions of me are pulling at me to not move forward. When I do that, I reach a wider place of security, because I realise it was never that scary in the first place.
Yeah. Security is like a human construct on so many levels, isn't it?
I think so, and I know that's a privileged thing to say, because look, when
Yeah.
we can explore security in a number of other ways as well, but
when there's like genuine real threat to someone's
for
human
sure.
rights and life, that's a
not
completely
confusing.
different
Exactly,
thing.
exactly. And I think in those circumstances, it's terrifying. Like, I can, on all sorts of different levels, I have to honour that as well as part of this conversation, I think.
We
That
don't know
just came up
again,
for
we
me.
don't know the context of what that is.
No.
But they have
no.
asked what it means to us, and that's all we can speak to.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think, on so many levels, safety, we are conditioned to seek safety in a way that fuels greed, money, power. We're kind of, we're fed this way of being, and what it means to feel secure, and what it means to be safe, and what it means to be successful, what it means to be healthy, like so many different things. And actually, when we strip it back, especially when I think you go on a spiritual journey, that can look so different.
Yeah.
And that's where we get to go, we get to choose what that really means to us now.
Yes.
And that's the joy of all of it.
And that's what's so empowering, I think.
Yeah.
And leaning into the possibility of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that. Whoever bless you asked the question. Well, I'm going to get better at these topics. My perfectionist is raging at me.
What, right now?
Not putting the name on.
Oh, mate, I know, I feel that.
No.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But I do. What does it feel like to you, and how to create it? How to create it, how to create security is I'm cool. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
In the discomfort of the topic, but I think that's because I can feel, and maybe it's a similar experience for you, just to kind of finish this episode, but something around standing in our power of all of these topics, and this whole podcast framework is about exploration. It's about imperfect conversations.
Yeah.
It's actually about feeling secure in this environment of being able to talk to our own experiences, to bring whatever knowledge and understanding and training and all of that stuff we have into it, but to know that we're never going to know everything about everything.
No.
And also we're going to be imperfect, and also we're going to forget things. And like, I had that moment a few episodes ago when I quoted Star Trek and I quoted the wrong film. And I felt so insecure in that moment of realization that I'd misquoted it. A, because I know how passionate people can be about certain things like that. And I've seen how people can be in groups when someone makes a real clanger. And I felt that fear. My little one was terrified at the possibility of rejection, of not feeling secure in myself. But I was able to walk myself through it, and you witnessed that, and to calm myself and to be able to accept myself in that moment.
Yeah.
So actually speaking to the question today of what does it feel like to you and how do you create it? I think creating it is understanding that there are always going to be parts of me that feel a lack of security and afraid whenever there's something new.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever there's something new and unfamiliar, I'm always going to feel that. How do I create security with that knowledge of myself? It's to try and connect with that part of myself that feels insecure in that moment and be their parent.
Yeah.
And be their leader. Like, allow them to feel what they need to feel, but not to let that overtake me to stop me from doing the thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's
it. It's being that, it's self-leadership, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think so.
To ride the waves as best we can, compassionately as we can. And, you know, when you were saying that, you know, immediately it brought up those people that might be listening to this, who a lot of the people I work with, you know, that when you've gone through, when you've experienced complex trauma, you know, a lot of my connections have been through horrendous physical, emotional, narcissistic abuse. Do you ever find security? Do you ever feel safe? I don't know. And I don't want to sit here and say, do X, Y, and Z, and suddenly, no, it's such a complex process. And leaning into the previous episode about nervous system, it takes a lot of somatic body work, nervous system regulation, to ever touch upon a degree of security again after those experiences. You know, some of the things we've witnessed in even just the last couple of years in this world, like, I wouldn't even feel comfortable even talking to that level of lack of safety or lack of security.
Yeah, for sure.
It's horrific. It's going to be such an individual journey. But I think, you know, what came up for me is exactly like you just said, doing something new, expanding out of the comfort zone, money, security, all of that. I think it's such an individual thing. But whenever anyone puts a topic in that bowl, I say there's something deeper that there's probably waiting to be explored here.
For sure.
A new level of, whether it is like spiritual expansion, growth, to release some of that need. But great fucking topic.
Yeah, keep them coming, please. Like, I want to feel uncomfortable and I want to feel imperfect as part of these conversations.
Yeah.
Like, I do, and I enjoy having them. Like, there's a part of me that lights up at the challenge of speaking to a subject and not knowing where I'm going to go with it and where we're going to go with it.
I know.
I think there's something really empowering about just being willing to do that.
Yeah, and like my rescuer being okay with, I might not talk to everyone's experience. We're not going to be able to talk to everyone's experience, but this isn't what this podcast is for. So thank you for allowing us to expand out of that comfort zone and find our new level of security and safety.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you turn off the fucking oven? All I'm thinking about is those fucking hair curlers. Anyway, on that note, better get back.
That's brilliant.
See you later, too.
Till the next time.
Thank you so much for listening or watching this week's episode of Have You Got Space for This? If you're liking what you're hearing and seeing, please subscribe, rate, or review the podcast so we can reach as many people around the world.
And if you're not already connected with us and are aware of everything we do at the 3E Space, in the show notes you will see all of our handles and ways to get in touch with us, which we'd really love you to do. Get connected with us, give us your feedback on this and any other episodes you listen to, and also topics. Keep giving us topics and stay connected. So until next time, thanks for being here.